Welcome to the Geeks Attic. This is a book review of Star Wars Year by Year, A Visual History, the updated and expanded edition. As you can see behind me is Star Wars Year by Year, A Visual History. Now that's actually the sleeve of the book. The book itself looks like this. You've got Ahsoka, Darth Vader, and Rey, and on the back you've got some clone troopers, Yoda and Luke, with some concept art of the trench run. Now this book was written by a handful of authors, Ryder Windham, Daniel Wallace, and the master of canon himself, Pablo Hidalgo. Now it is published by DK Publishing. That's actually who sent me this book. Thank you. As this is a history book, we start way in the past and bring ourselves all the way up to the present, to a certain point, because the present is now, not when the book was finished, sometime last year. So I learned quite a few things in this book, like in 1944, George Lucas Jr. was born. He was a nerd, like a lot of us are. He liked comics, he liked sci-fi, he liked radio dramas, all that kind of stuff. He liked TV a lot. We learned a lot about good old George and what influenced him and inspired him to create his legacy, the films we all love, Star Wars. One of the most fascinating things about George Lucas was the start of his career. I mean, the talent that he was surrounded by, the stories he was working on, it's incredible. This book contains a lot of material. It's not just the history of Star Wars, it contains a lot of history of the world. I mean, it's got footnotes at the bottom of just major events that took place over time. There's all sorts of little neat things to learn in this. I like to call them knowledge nuggets. Like, for example, George Lucas had somebody else write the first draft to the sequel of Star Wars, and he was very displeased with it. Now, there are many Star Wars fans that enjoy the Expanded Universe, or EU. It's the story that goes beyond just the films, be it in novels, comics, magazines, or cartoons. I myself enjoy reading both the Legends canon and the new canon. You can see they're all on my shelf. So you can imagine I was pretty excited when I came across the author's note written by Ryder Windham, when he says, "We would also include occasional inconsistencies between movies, novels, comics, and merchandise." So yes, I was definitely ready for those knowledge nuggets. April 25th, 2014 was a sad day for the Expanded Universe fans, because that's the day that the EU died. It became Legends. The new canon arose in September with the novel A New Dawn. But way back before the Legends canon even existed, there was another canon, and it was born September 1977, with Star Wars issue number 7. The first EU novel was Splinter of the Mind's Eye. It was written by Alan Dean Foster. He also wrote the novelization of Star Wars from the Adventures of Luke Skywalker. The cover says it's from George Lucas, but it's Alan Dean Foster. There are people today that like to point out all the contradictions that took place in the Legends canon and the new canon. Well, fans were no different than they were way back when the EU first started, when they found the first contradiction that took place in Marvel's Star Wars number 15 and Splinter of the Mind's Eye, when two character traits had switched. The comic book Star Wars number 15 says that Luke Skywalker cannot swim and Leia can. However, in Splinter of the Mind's Eye, Leia cannot swim and Luke can. This book was extremely awesome. As you can tell, my favorite parts were the little knowledge nuggets of the Expanded Universe. I highly recommend that you go pick this up for anybody who loves Star Wars or history. Both of them, they both took place in the past, and they're still going on. They're still going to make Star Wars movies. Star Wars has a big effect on society today. It did way back when it came out in 1977, and I'm sure it'll continue on for many years to come. Thank you, DK Publishing, for sending this book out. I appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up, everybody. Subscribe if you haven't already so you'll be notified when I post more videos. Check out thegeeksattic.com. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram @thegeeksattic. Have a good one. Go pick up this book.